All right, welcome to Blackwood95, an actual play for Monster of the Week. I am Guy, the storyteller. I'm joined by Alyn, Ben, and Ryan, and we're going to jump right into it. This is a new system for us, but we'll get there. Actually, before I jump in, just in case somebody skipped our session 0 where we made characters, let's just go down the line. So, Alyn, you are playing Jacob. What's a quick elevator pitch on Jacob? What is Jacob all about? What's his deal? And what's he look like?
Jacob looks like any normal person. He tries not to stand out, so he adapts his look, clothing, everything to anything to do with Jacob is immortal. So he's been alive for a long time. And he's really about occult and just going from time to time and finding something to do. And he's always been into investigating paranormal and trying to help as part of his group called the Community, and so that's what he really does, is he's looking forward to getting back into it.
Okay. Just casual clothes for the 90s?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Lucas, played by Ryan. Now you're playing, give us the quick pitch on Lucas.
I'm playing a searcher. Had an event happen in the past that turned me on to searching for supernatural things. It involved a raven that accompanies me now by the name of Lenore, which is not obviously a supernatural creature, but is one. Jacob is your typical 90s grunge looking character. He's got the layers, the flannel, combat boots,
Okay.
holes in his jeans.
What rough age does Lucas look?
He's about 30.
Okay, so he's in his 30s, or about 30. And as far as just jumping back, Jacob looks what? I know he's immortal, but roughly age does Jacob look?
Jacob looks like he's in his late 20s, early 30s.
Okay. All right. Ben, you all set?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. So Frank, give us Frank's rundown.
So Frank is a professional. He is in his mid-30s, average height, average athletic to slim build. A sharp-dressed guy. He looks the part of a professional, a detective type. Clean cut, cool demeanor, that sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so the setting, let's go ahead and set the scene. So this is the town of Blackwood, Pennsylvania in the year 1995. The town of Blackwood, Pennsylvania, deep in the Appalachian Mountain Range, is about as remote as you can possibly get within the lower 48. Also, disclaimer, because it was brought to my attention, there already is a place called Blackwood in Pennsylvania, but that's a pond as far as I can tell. This is a fictional town and is no way referencing a real town. So, town of Blackwood, Pennsylvania in the Appalachian Mountain Range. It's hours away from any real city. The town of Blackwood enjoys miles and miles of state preserved forest in every direction. It was originally formed around one of the country's most powerful families. Now, this is an alternate history, so there's a little bit of creative liberties taken on how, just different little things. The Hendriks family, who is the inventor of the Hendriks long rifle, as well as countless other firearms since the 1800s. Blackwood has since then become a very profitable little town of small businesses, family-owned farms, and logging operations. The Hendriks factory, which was based in Blackwood and was responsible for making rifles, handguns, even at a certain point during World War II, grenades. They closed up shop in the 70s, shortly after Vietnam ended. And the last of the Hendriks that lived in town passed away in the mid-80s, about 10 years ago. But their old house still sits up on the hill overlooking the town. The mayor and the town council have declared that a historic site. As far as the old factory, it just still sits there, still owned by the Hendriks Foundation, which is a very wealthy, powerful foundation. But so far, nothing's being done with the factory. It's just an eyesore. Small town, people are kind of private here. They're closed-lipped around strangers. They don't like to discuss their problems unless they're at the bar or a town council, where they all like to complain. But lately, strange things have been happening. The shadows of the town all seem a little bit deeper at night. The sounds in the woods a little bit more unsettling. So we open on a night much like any other. Headlights dot the main street and side lanes as the people make their way about town, going to the grocery store, going to the diner, stopping at one of the bars. It's the middle of summer. High on the eastern slope of the valley, a large Gothic manor overlooks the town. Hendriks House. Its grounds are pristine. It has wooded pathways, fountains, gardens, a family mausoleum. There's a marble swimming pool. There's a horse barn on the estate. And in the center of the estate sits the Hendriks house. Dark and empty. Save for a single frantic light that is seen in the first floor of the home, moving swiftly from window to window, shaking and swirling around. At one point, a man's face is caught for a moment in the beam of his flashlight as he runs, his expression stark and full of terror. The front door of the manor is flung open as the man sprints out, down the steps, stumbling and tearing the leg of his pants, his suit collecting the dry dust of the driveway before he springs back to his feet, daring for a moment to take a look back over his shoulder. He seems to have escaped whatever he was running from and immediately sprints towards the nearby road. A dark sedan parked just beyond the fence that circles the estate. His flashlight throws horrid shapes as he runs through the tree line before a sharp retort of a firearm and a blood-curdling scream, and the flashlight clatters to the ground, just beyond the fence, mere feet from the dark sedan. As the beam of light wobbles and comes to a stop on the face of the man, now leathery and wrinkled with age, his eyes stare blankly, locked in an expression of fear, as blood seeps from his chest onto his dust-stained suit. With that, we cut to the next morning, as your group is arriving or on their way to Blackwood. With a little bit more information, you've been called because a body was found, and at least one of you is connected to that body. So tell me, where would we find your group? Would you be on the way there? Would you have already arrived? Would you go straight to the manor? You know that the police have been involved. Where do we find you?
You'd find me with whoever can give me a ride.
So yeah, I've got a agency car. So we can be, I don't know, Ryan, you riding with us or you on your motorcycle?
I'll be coming in separate. Lucas has been west coast for a while. This was a bit of a hike for him. He travels around a lot, but he's from New York. He doesn't go back there. So this is a trip towards home for him. So he'll be accompanying you guys when he gets there.
All right, so we'll meet up separately, and Jacob, you're tagging along with me. Company car.
Sounds good.
All right.
Where would Frank and Jacob, where would they be at right now, let's say? I'm curious as to what the discussion coming into town would be based on what information you have.
So, yeah, I mean, let's start, maybe a mile or two outside of town. So we're approaching town.
Okay. Let me set that scene real quick outside the car, and you
Yeah.
can set the scene inside the car. So outside the car, driving in from outer, let's say you were coming in from somewhere north. You've been driving for a long time in nothing but woods. It's just been deep, heavily forested area, hills. You haven't seen another car in a long time. You're thinking probably 50 miles since you saw the last car. And not a lot of turnoffs even. There's not a lot of side roads other than maybe like four-wheeler trails and things like that. But this feels like you've just been driving in the woods for a very long time, and you finally are starting to see signs that say Blackwood 2 miles.
Are we still like in deep woods, or is it starting to thin?
You're starting to hit some of the hilltops where you're seeing the valley kind of spread out before you, where Blackwood is. So a few miles out, you're starting to see some building tops out that direction. And from where you're coming in from the north, you can see on the road that you're on, though several hills away, one of the times you top one of the peaks, you can see the Hendriks house is going to be one of the first things you drive by. It doesn't have to be where you stop. You know that was where the other agent of PRISM was killed, but you're allowed to go anywhere you'd like. But set the scene inside the car. You're driving, I assume, Frank?
Yeah. Yep. Frank is driving with Jacob in shotgun. Yeah, we've had a long ride. Just have actually the radio's cut in and out. The agency car doesn't have Sirius XM, so
no GPS either.
no, I know. So it's been periods of the most of the ride in has just been periods of mild banter and just road hypnosis, basically.
Okay,
And
you're kind of driving on autopilot.
Yeah. So as we see the sign that we're approaching Blackwood, I think Frank's mind starts to snap back into task at hand, and ask Jacob. I'm not exactly sure. I think along the way, or probably even at the beginning, before we even took off, I would have briefed him that we have a PRISM agent down in Blackwood, and that's what we're gonna go take a look at. So I would say Jacob already knows about that. So Jacob,
In the PRISM memo,
what do you say? That our agent is that's the crime scene right there as we top over and see that mansion.
You weren't quite loud enough, Alyn. I heard you say something, but I couldn't hear what it was.
I was just asking if he shared the memo with me or just gave me a...
Still really low.
I don't know why it's still really low.
That's much better when you're closer to it.
Yeah, well, it's like in my mouth right now.
Wow, that's really good.
Now.
Okay, what were you saying?
I asked if he shared the memo with me or just gave me a brief.
I think I just briefed you on it.
Okay.
Just kind of gave you the synopsis that PRISM's got an agent down, and based on some of the things that we know about it, it sounds like it's might be paranormal in nature, and asked if you wanted to tag along and maybe provide some assistance with your special set of skills.
Okay.
All right.
So,
where would the first place you had be?
Well, I think that was the conversation Frank was starting out with Jacob. What he thought about. Do you think we should? Again, as we came over, we could see the mansion. It was on the north side of town, so we'd be going by that first, anyways. Do you think we should swing in and at least check out the crime scene first, or think we should head to the heart of town and talk to some people?
I mean, you're the PRISM agent. I don't even... Do we have any witnesses? Do we have any leads? Who found the body?
Yeah, no.
We should either talk to. Well, we should probably go to the morgue then.
So, from what you understand, that morgue would be in St. Herman's Hospital, which you can get to. It's on the far end of town, but that would be most likely where the body is being held.
Either the morgue or the police headquarters to get any briefing that they have.
So I think we should probably stop and try to look up Sergeant Barnes of the Blackwood PD. I don't think the morgue's just going to let us in and look at bodies.
Nobody said we needed permission.
Just flash your credentials.
Yeah. No. I think we're just rolling into town here. If we can be on the good side of the authorities, it might be more helpful than just shoving our way in here, especially as far out as we are. These far out small towns tend to be very exclusive and not so friendly to outsiders. So let's try the white glove approach first.
So you're heading to the police station then?
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, police station's fine.
As the two of you roll into town, you pass Hendriks House, which is a massive 3- and 4-story building on the left-hand side on its own private estate, fenced in, that kind of sits up on a hill away from the road that you're on. But the road kind of comes down off the hill and drops down into Blackwood itself. As you're driving in, you're passing, you see the old abandoned factory, you see a used car lot, and then you start getting into the town proper.
As we pass Hendriks House, I want to try and use magic and just seeing if I can sense any like supernatural presence or weirdness, anything like that.
Awesome. And you're basically reaching out, trying to sense a presence.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a use magic roll.
What's forward again?
Forward is if you had a bonus to this roll from something else. So right now it's going to be 0.
So it's still 0.
6.
Okay. So you can go ahead and mark an experience because that's a failure. And so while you're driving along, Frank, you see Jacob kind of, his eyes kind of drift back in his head. He gets real still for a moment. And there is a moment where he kind of, you see like he almost goes translucent for a moment. You start to be able to see through him. And then you see his body start to convulse. He becomes solid again. And he has effectively, you know this isn't possible because of his situation. You know he's not a normal human. But he has the equivalent of a small seizure in the seat next to you just for a moment. And you see lines of stress and like blood vessels kind of burst on the side of his neck. Jacob, you're going to take 1 harm that ignores armor. So you're going to mark 1 harm on your playbook. As you reached out your senses towards the manor and met just I know that you have a thing that ignores the first harm you take, right?
Well, it says I take 1 less.
1 less, so you'll take none. But you do feel that almost like a pain as you get a magical feedback into your body. But then that passes, and you find yourself breathing very heavily in the car as Frank drives along.
And I assume I know that that's because I miscast my spell, not because anything attacked me.
You're not really sure why that happened. I mean, you felt like that didn't quite go through the way you wanted it to, but you're not sure if that was just a glitch of your own making, or if something saw you or felt you doing that and reached out to you. It didn't give you a lot of information.
So Jacob will just kind of shake his head and be like, "Well, that didn't feel real good."
Meanwhile,
okay, man, that doesn't look. You don't look so good.
I was trying to get a sense of the house, see if there was anything there. And either I messed up or there's something there. I don't know which it is. I can't really tell. But got a headache. Got any aspirin?
You gonna be okay, man? We just started our case here.
Meanwhile, on the far end of town, a motorcycle is riding in. Where would Lucas be heading first?
I don't think Lucas has all the details yet. Reaching out. Lenore would be familiar with Frank's car.
Okay.
So I'm going to follow in hopes that she can find it.
Okay. So Lenore is flying up above town. Now, just from an aesthetics purpose, it being the 90s, are you riding an American-made motorcycle or a...
I'm riding a Ninja. I'm riding a crotch rocket.
Okay. All right. So you're riding...
Very appropriate.
Yep. And I think that across the United States at this period of time, you'll see both, but there are definite stigmas on each one of them. But you come riding in, you see a raven flying high above the town. Kind of, there's one main road that you rode forever on as well, just mile after mile of forests. But there's one main road that goes through Blackwood, so you don't really have a lot of turns. But I'm gonna say that the only time you see Lenore bank away from the main road is as you travel down a side road that leads towards a town hall and police station. And I'm going to say that just for ease of story, that you're arriving roughly the same time. You see Frank and Jacob getting out of the Cadillac as you wheel your motorcycle into the gravel parking lot that sits between the town hall and the police station. So the three of you are together now as the engine of the Cadillac cuts off, the higher pitched engine from the Ninja cuts off. You hear the gravel crunch under boots as you all step out into the morning sun in the middle of late July in Blackwood, Pennsylvania.
Pull off my helmet. Morning, gentlemen.
Lucas?
Okay.
Lenore?
How you doing, Lucas?
Greetings.
Does Lenore come down and land near you, or does she stay up high?
Her choice, but I would say normally she doesn't make her presence obvious to everyone else, so she's probably just flying above.
Oh, okay.
We probably should have established this then or previous, but I'll ask now. Ryan, do you want to control Lenore, or do you want me to control Lenore?
I think I would prefer that you do, just because I'm not even sure what all of her capabilities are.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to say Lenore has landed on top of the police station and is sitting on the peak of the entryway and just kind of gives a few rattling croaks like ravens do. And I think that she is familiar with Frank and Jacob, and that's effectively her greeting to all of everybody.
Is that's reciprocal then too? Like we know about her and
you know that she's always around Lucas. You don't know much about her.
like I'm aware that she's there and that she's related to Lucas. I may not be aware of quite.
Yeah, I think that Frank would most likely have some suspicion of her nature, other than knowing that it's unusual. Beyond that,
And you have seen me interact with her on a few occasions.
Yeah.
For game rules, she is listed as under abilities as a guardian, so she watches over me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would assume through our interactions, I would have picked up that even if I don't know exactly what's going on with her, a raven following you around all the time, it's, something out of the normal.
Correct. And as you kind of greet each other in the parking lot there, you hear basically a door open and close, drawing your attention as a kind of a middle-aged, mid-40s man, a little bit heavier on the midsection, police officer wearing a short sleeve police uniform, putting his hat on as he comes out, steps out and kind of sees the three of you and starts walking over to introduce himself. He has a, if you didn't know better based on the frown lines and whatnot, you would have said permanent frown. He's not, doesn't look like a happy person. But he kind of comes stomping over across the gravel parking lot towards you, and he says, "Can I help you?"
Does he have a name tag?
Yeah, you see the name tag of the Sergeant Roy Barnes.
Okay, this is Sergeant Barnes then. All right. All right. So I'll approach him and pull my badge out. Say, Sergeant Barnes, Agent Frank Dresmond, at your service.
Okay. What can I do for you, Agent Dresmond? I sent in a report. I think we covered everything. What are you doing here?
Well, it sounds like our agent Tasker had a incident here in the town, and I was wondering if I could check up on his body and look into a few things.
I mean, yeah, there was. Okay, he looks around and kind of wipes some sweat off his head. He says, "Look, Blackwood's a pretty small town, and we don't really know why this guy from your agency showed up here, why he decided it was a good idea to trespass in Hendriks' house. But far as we can tell, some drifter shot him, stole his car, and headed north. That's the story we can come up with based on what evidence we have. You want to go to the hospital and check him out, fine. Maybe take the body and head back to wherever it is you come from, but we don't want any trouble in town."
Oh, sure. I understand. In fact, that's half the reason I'm here. Anytime something bad happens to our agents, I want to make sure that we get that cleared up so it's not a burden on you guys.
Yeah, fine. I'll tell you what. I'll let Shirley, the girl that works the counter inside the station, know that you're going to be asking over at the morgue, and that if they give a call, that you can collect your coworker. But like I say, seems like an open and shut case. I mean, for here, the car's gone. Looked like tire tracks were heading north, and beyond that, don't really have any leads here in town. But yeah, I'll let Shirley know. Do you need anything else from me?
Can I do a investigative mystery roll?
Yeah. You can try to maybe grill this guy a little bit and see what information you can get out of him. Go ahead and give me an investigative mystery.
All right. Well, that's bad.
All right. Go ahead and mark an experience point.
Gain some experience.
I would like to use my empathy to see if I can get a gauge of if this guy's actually trying to be helpful or if he's just doesn't like us, so he's being dismissive.
Okay. Let me real quick. You just have to explain what happened with the negative part of doing that. Let's see here.
Gotcha.
So, as you start talking to Sergeant Barnes, you start asking a few questions. You start pushing a couple topics. Looking for some details. At a certain point, he kind of goes real stone-faced, closed-lipped, and he gets kind of right in your face, Frank, and he goes, "Look, I got a lot of stuff going on today. I got more than enough on my plate, more than I want to deal with some out-of-towners. So I'll tell you right now, you can go to the hospital, you can collect your buddy, but I'm done talking to you. So I'll let Shirley know, but we're done here. And if I see you poking around and causing trouble in town, we're going to have problems. At which point he starts to turn and walk away, but you can use your empathy at that point.
Actually, I scratch that. I think I know where he stands now.
Okay, so you're good on that. He spins on heel and like stomps across the gravel parking lot, slams the door to the police station behind him, and the three of you are left in the morning sun of the parking lot.
I think I got a pretty good picture of how he feels about us now.
Yeah.
I just got a headache, Frank, man. You really pissed him off.
So much for starting off on the right foot.
Still up for that
It's all
Blackwood
good.
House treatment?
All right, guys. Well, that didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped, but at least we have a couple of directions to go in here. I'm going to be headed to the hospital to retrieve Agent Tasker and see what's going on there. I don't know. Do you guys want to look into? Does someone want to maybe head up to the house and?
I'd actually like to join you if I could.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, I guess I'll head up to the house. You mind if I... Nope, guess I'm going with you. I don't have a way to get to the house.
I mean, just to throw this out there, this is a small town. From the police station to the house is like a 10-minute walk.
Oh, well then, all right. If it's that small, yeah, I'll make my way to the house if you guys got the body.
Okay. All right. Let's cut to then the hospital. So you go your separate ways. I imagine, Lucas, you're following along on your motorcycle. You're not leaving it at the police station?
Correct.
Okay. So the two of you arrive at St. Herman's Hospital on the far end of town. Make your way in, and you were heading to the morgue, correct? Okay. We're going to cut to a few minutes later, at 5-10 minutes later, after you've driven through town. You see, the normal small town. There's a bookstore, there's a diner, you see a grocery store.
Actually, can I scratch that? I'd actually appreciate riding with you. You can give me a better brief of what's going on the way there. I can leave my bike.
Yeah, it's just a public parking lot, right?
Yeah, it's between the town hall and the police station. It's fine to leave the bike here if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
The two of you ride to... Did you have a conversation that you wanted to have on the way to?
I was just assuming he could fill me in on the logistics of what's going on, the specifics that I didn't have when I was riding here. That you already related to us. We don't really have to have the conversation if you don't want.
No, let's have the conversation so that anybody watching and listening can have it too.
All right.
Sure.
Fill me in.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of details here, but we definitely have something we need to look into. So Agent Tasker was apparently killed by a single gunshot wound. However, there were no ballistics evidence other than the wound to the body. And the coroner's report states that Agent Tasker was 90 years old. Agent Tasker was, in fact, in his mid-20s. So there's some strange things going on here. And if I can read a person at all, it seems to me that Sergeant Barnes may not be 100% forthcoming with all the facts and situations. He seemed very uncomfortable with us being here and very uncomfortable with anyone looking into the details of Agent Tasker's situation at all.
Was this agent someone you knew, a friend of yours?
He was an associate. I worked with him a few times. Not like a partner or close confidant or anything. But I did know him. Again, he was in his mid-20s, younger than me, kind of a upstart in the department. I mean, I don't have any bad words to say about the kid. well, he's a kid to me, but he was doing a good job. I don't know the details of even why he was assigned out here. I was just tasked to come out and essentially play cleanup.
You weren't close.
Work associates, let's say that. Like I said, he was relatively new. He was a younger member of the department. We weren't longtime friends or anything like that.
Well, my condolences, but
I appreciate that. Thank you.
but considering you weren't close, that one of the things that sparked my interest, supernatural dead body. I'd like to get a look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always appreciate anything, any help that you can bring with your skill sets.
Certainly do my best.
This conversation takes place over the course of the small car ride to St. Herman's, through the halls of the hospital down into the basement, and you're ending as you push through the doors into the morgue to find a short woman, curly red hair, thick glasses, sitting behind a desk, filling out paperwork with a set of double doors that is beyond her. Looks to be an office clerk that works in the the town morgue. St. Herman's, by the way, is a good-sized hospital for this town. This is a hospital that would probably be more suitable in what you would imagine a town of 10 or 12,000. It looks like it must have gotten a lot of really good funding at one point. And you notice that it's not a very busy place. You're assuming that the Hendriks Foundation wanted a nice hospital in their corporate headquarters, and which was at one point Blackwood. But you push in, and this shorter woman with the curly red hair kind of looks up to you, and she says, "This is the morgue. Were you looking for urgent care or the emergency room, or what can I help you with?"
I walk up to her and I pull my badge out. I say, pardon me?
She kind of squints at the badge.
Okay. Said Agent Frank Dresmond. Are you Shirley by chance?
No. And you see the nameplate on her desk says Frida Jane. And you recall Shirley was the lady at the police station that ran the front desk that was going to vouch for you to be allowed in.
Yeah. I see. Sorry. So instead I would say, has Shirley from the police department contacted you?
I got a call from her just a few minutes ago that there was going to be a couple folks coming over to look at the man that was killed yesterday. Are you these folks? It must be based on the badge. I can take you right in. She stands up with a clipboard and she says, "All right, so we've got looks like Jerry Tasker. Looks like he was a very nice old man. Very spry for his age based on some of the injuries that he's sustained. But come on in." And she leads you in and opens up a refrigerated compartment, starts pulling the drawer out. And the two of you stand there. You see a very old man that has been he's covered in a sheet. There is some. They haven't done an autopsy. There's been some inspection of the chest wound, but it's only been since yesterday. So there hasn't been an autopsy yet. You're not even positive a town this size has a proper coroner that could do an autopsy. But she says, "So did you know the deceased?"
Yeah. He was an agent that worked in my department.
She gets like a very incredulous look on her face, and she says, "Like, did he work in like a records department, perhaps, or like you look down and you know what Jerry looked like, and you kind of can make the connection that this is Jerry, like, but this is a man that was alive for a very long time based on his appearance." leathery skin, wrinkles, liver spots, a couple moles. He's lost most of his hair on the top. Muscle mass is massively decreased. Like when last time you saw Jerry was when he was playing on the PRISM softball league last summer, and if you hadn't been told this was what was going on, it probably would have slipped by you. But you recognize enough features that you can say, yeah, that's Jerry, but not the Jerry I remember.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that, though. I'm going to say, yeah, old Jerry, he was a longtime member of the department, and, he was actually down here on a courier service. So I'm not really sure what happened. That's kind of why I'm down here to figure out. That's, sad. He had a great life, but it's sad that, it wrapped up like it did here.
Oh, of course, yeah. We don't get a lot of this kind of thing in Blackwood. The last time there was a murder, I would have been. It was a long time ago. Let's put it that way. But did you? And she kind of gives Lucas a side eye. Who you look like you don't belong here.
I was about to say she probably would give me more of a side eye because while they're talking, I'm just going to start inspecting the body.
Okay. What kind of inspection are you doing?
I don't know. Opening his jaw, maybe even checking around his clothesline. He's naked. I'm assuming, maybe.
He is naked.
Is he on a slab?
He is naked, covered by a sheet.
Checking for any wounds.
Okay.
Looking under the arms and whatnot.
It sounds like you want to do maybe investigate a mystery.
I do, but I want to. If this is relevant, I would like to use. I have an ability called Occam's Broadsword.
Yeah, Occam's Broadsword, which is an excellent name for an ability.
It is.
All right, read Occam's Broadsword so we can get into it.
Okay, when you first encounter something strange, you may ask the keeper what sort of thing it is. They will tell you if it or the cause is natural, an unnatural creature, a weird phenomenon, or a person.
Okay.
And then you gain +1 forward dealing with it.
Right, and there's no roll for Occam's Broadsword. This is an ability that you have.
Correct.
So, Frank, as you are talking to Frida, you see her side-eye Lucas and then realize that Lucas is got Jerry's mouth open and is touching his teeth. Frida starts to get a little bit agitated and turns towards Lucas. But would you interfere at all, or would you just let this play out?
I would interfere.
If I notice her reaction or no, or I might be very invested in what I'm doing.
You tell me. How invested are you, and would you notice?
I'll say maybe out of the corner of my eye I notice, and I don't look up at her. I just go, I'm a consultant.
Okay.
And
I just keep going about what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'd kind of step in front of Frida politely, and with a smile on my face, and say, Lucas is just here to try to figure out, if there was any other conditions other than the gunshot wound that might have been at play here.
Okay. Frank, give me a manipulate someone roll.
I was going to ask to do that.
Yep. Give me a manipulate.
I figured I'd let you ask me to do it.
Yep. Give me a manipulate someone roll. Lucas,
right.
This was the cause of death. It was written up as you can see the chart that she's sat down next to the body says gunshot wound. not remotely a gunshot wound. Wow, you guys are awesome.
I'm going to be leveling up hardcore this mission.
Go ahead and
If
mark
you
another
survive.
experience. Go ahead and mark another experience. Lucas, this was done by a supernatural force, not a phenomenon and not a natural thing, including the bullet wound. Not a real bullet wound.
Okay.
You hear Frank trying to explain that you're a consultant, and all of a sudden Frida's voice goes very high pitched, and she goes, I don't care what's going on, but the kids these days, and she's pointing at like the flannel and the combat boots, and she's like, you're not wearing gloves, you didn't wash your hands, there's evidence that could be there that you're clearly not the person that's supposed to be there. You guys, look, they called and said you're allowed in here, but they said that you might be troublemakers, and this isn't the way it's supposed to be handled. So I'm gonna have to call my manager. And she turns and starts walking back out. She actually leaves you in the room by herself. She walks back out to the desk. You hear her pick up the phone and start dialing. And the two of you are for a moment left alone with the body.
Okay.
So, Lucas, what are you picking up on anything here?
One of my abilities will allow me to use the sensitive trait, but I have to make a act under pressure roll in order to use it.
Okay.
Just to see if I can get some kind of psychic impression from the body.
Okay. Describe. We'll have you do this, but describe how it looks and what happens. I'm gonna say that
there's a lot of touching, and I even put like the side of my face down on the body for a second, just to get a feel of it.
As you get close to the body, I'm gonna also say that Frank, movement in the corner of your eye, and the door didn't open, and she didn't follow you in. But as Lucas starts to lean in and touch this body, there's a raven perched across the room on an operating table, just watching. And you see Lenore in the same room now, though she wasn't there a moment ago. So you lean in, you're touching the body, you're putting your face close.
I kind of look around like, how did this bird come from?
Go ahead and give me an act under pressure roll, Lucas.
Okay, do I get my +1 forward?
Yes, this is dealing with this situation. You get the +1.
I want to help out.
Okay. Well, before Lucas rolls, explain, though, you got to be able to explain how you would help in this situation.
All right. I will. I'll go to the door and try to. In fact, I'll go out of the door to try to distract Frida from re-entering, so that Lucas can fully concentrate on whatever he's doing.
Okay.
And we don't have to worry about being interrupted.
Okay. Give me a help out roll.
All right. This has got to be higher than 5.
We can hope.
12! Yes!
Okay.
Advanced success.
Nice.
All right. You go out, and immediately as Frida, you can hear her shrill voice. She's like, Jim, you gotta come down to the morgue. There's these guys here, and one of them's messing with the body that came in. You step out and immediately start to diffuse the situation. Her voice lowers, and Lucas, the room, you were hearing everything. It's not a long distance away, but the room, it gets a little bit quieter. Thanks to Frank's intervention outside the room, so you have a little bit more concentration. So that'll give you an additional +1 to your roll. There you go.
There, much better.
All right.
Okay.
So
that is actually just allowing me to use this ability.
Okay. And
now I actually have to roll for sensitive.
Okay.
Do I get the pluses with this as well?
Yes, but tell us what sensitive does.
Sensitive, you open your brain to psychic environment. You can, I'm looking to get an impression on what affected him or how he was feeling.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and roll with a +2. But don't put in the plus.
Just a 2.
Right.
Just the 2.
Right. Hey.
Oh, good one.
All right, with an advanced success, you take a moment, you lean down, you actually, once Frank leaves the room, Lenore comes over and perches on the body next to you. You feel your eyes kind of glaze over, and for a moment, you see a vision. You see a few things. You see a glowing red light that comes from kind of nowhere. You see a man from another time. He's wearing antiquated clothing, and he's carrying an old pistol, like a revolver, but it looks that looks very antiquated. He's got like a double-breasted suit on, with like long tails. His hair is pulled back into like a ponytail, but he's got like little curls at the side that almost looks like a powdered wig at possible. Kind of got like a beard and a mustache going on. And for a moment, you see him walk through he kind of walks through a wall and appears in front of. You get an impression you're seeing like the last few moments of this man's life, and starts to raise the gun towards this man before the man starts running upstairs, and you lose sight of him. But you get the solid impression from that you're dealing with some sort of a ghost.
Right.
While that's all going on, we're going to jump real quick out to the Hendrik house as Jacob arrives. You walked up the hill, cut up through the private drive, and there's like a waist-high fence, but the gate is open. You see the large Gothic manor in front of you. The drive kind of comes in and goes into a circle to come back out, and you can see like tire tracks near the front gate with looks like somebody peeled out on the asphalt out here before it turns to gravel, heading north. You guys actually drove right by this on the way in. You can see like there's like wooded areas to each side of the main drive, inside the fence, so private woodland areas, and then off to the one side of the house you can see like a garden and a swimming pool. But you see the house is dark itself. Like there's no lights on. It doesn't look lived in or anything like that. But you do see a man. I say a man. You see a kid who's in his early 20s, if that, in like flannel combat boots. You're actually reminded of Lucas, but younger. He's got headphones on. You see a Walkman on his belt. You can hear a little bit of music going, and he's got like a rake, and he's just kind of like taking care of the grounds. He's got his back to you as you walk up into the yard.
I look around, see if I see any team, blood, anything like that, because supposedly he died outside, right?
Yeah, he did die outside. And you do see like the area where like there's like a dark patch on the ground not too far from the main gate that's covered in blood. And as of right now, the person raking is not aware of you. Were you heading over that way then?
I make my way over to the person raking.
Okay.
And I will tap him on the shoulder.
Okay. He jumps badly and like pulls his headphones off. He's like, "Whoa, man! Whoa, what?" He like looks you up and down. He's like, "Are you lost?"
No. I came into town with a friend of mine, and I point behind me to look into the thing that happened over here.
Oh yeah, the guy, the old guy. Yeah, that was wild. I mean, like, I was, and he he pulls a cigarette out and starts smoking. He lights it up. He's like, yeah, I was here. I work here, but I was late. I was here late at night, and I saw this guy come running out. He points off to the south of the yard. He's like, I was just down there, and he ran into the woods. I heard a gunshot, and I'll be honest, like I hid for a little bit because I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I've heard gunshots before, but the guy was screaming and everything, and then after a bit, I heard a car squeal away. So I went and checked it out, and somebody popped the old dude.
Where you're talking about in the woods, but where did the old dude get popped? You said they ran out in the woods?
So when he's pointing at there's like a tree line. Well, there's like a private bit of a wood lot inside the fence line, almost like this estate has its own park, quote unquote. So it's not really like the woods. It's like 10 or 12 trees with a small path between them, and the blood stain that you see is just on the edge of that. So he goes, it's right over there, man. And he got shot right over there. As far as I know, the cops came.
I said, he ran over there. Was there anybody chasing him?
No, man, I didn't see anybody chasing him. I saw his flashlight in the house. He's not supposed to be in the house, by the way. I saw his flashlight in the house. He came tearing out, screaming, and then across the yard. And I guess the cops said that some drifter shot him and stole his car.
Where'd you hear the car leave from?
He points just on the other side of the fence, like maybe 10 feet from the blood spot.
So you didn't see the car leave because you were hidden?
Yeah, I was hiding, man. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't want to catch a bullet myself. But, do you want to give me an investigate a mystery?
Can I try, and I'm just having a conversation. I'm trying to manipulate it.
Okay, what are you trying to manipulate him to do?
Just to give me all the information he has about have the conversation we've been having and answer my questions. And I'm not above like bribing him. I can pull out like 100 and be like,
If you want to try to manipulate him, yeah, we can do that instead.
Dude, that's a lot of money in 1995. Like 20 spot's a good bribe, especially for a groundskeeper.
That's true. $20 in 1995 would, believe this or not, kids, fill your gas tank. From empty. And you'd have money left over. Yeah, but you can give me a manipulate somebody.
I was getting.
Well.
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong stat. It's supposed to be tough or weird.
Yours is supposed to be weird, right?
Yes, when I'm trying to manipulate somebody.
Right,
Hold on.
Because of your playbook. There you go.
There you go.
You're gonna slip him a 20, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're talking to
I'll
him,
reach in. I'll be like, is there anything you saw that you might have not, and I'll pull out a 20, that you might just be remembering that might have stood out?
he's like, oh man, thanks. He pockets that and he's like, I will say I didn't think it was really relevant, but like, not only did the old guy I don't know how he even got in the house. The door's locked and I'm the only one with the key. I mean, other than the foundation, but he got in the house and then he broke a lock inside the house. I didn't report it to the cops because, they were already dealing with his body and it's not like he's going to get charged for it, but I'm going to have to write it up to the foundation to replace the lock to the basement. I don't know what he was doing in the basement. Or how that old dude managed to break a lock.
Did it look like the lock was shattered, or did it look like he was trying to pick it? You know what? Is there any chance I can see the lock? Any chance you can take me inside?
Yeah, man, that's okay. I can give you the tour. I'm allowed to give, limited tours, so I can show you the ground floor. And
well, then, you know what? Actually, if we're gonna get a tour, why don't we wait? And I'm gonna see. I have a couple of friends in town. Let's see if they get here, and I'm gonna go look at this place by the woods.
At the blood. He says, "Okay, well, I'm gonna finish up raking this. Are your friends gonna be here soon? Because I was gonna head into town and get a burger in a little bit."
And I say I'll find out for you. And as I start walking towards the little wooded area, I'll pull out my cell phone.
Okay. All right.
Call. Oh
so-
wait, it's 95. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you could have a cell phone. I'm going to say that no, there are cell phones in 95. They just look
They're just
a lot
big.
like a walkie-talkie. And are you going to call Frank's? Frank has a cell phone that you know of. He also has a pager.
I'm gonna do this a different way.
Okay.
At 95, I'm gonna do this a different way.
Lucas does not have a phone.
Okay.
Neither do I. I'm thinking modern times. I'm getting, everybody can just call everybody. 95.
Lucas has a pager.
There you go. Yeah.
So what I'm gonna end up doing is when I get to the woods, I'm going to use magic to cast a message spell to Frank to say, "Hey, we can get a tour of the house if you guys want to come here."
All right. Go ahead and give me a use
Be
magic.
quick.
So you hide. You basically cut vision away from this guy. So you step behind a tree, and then just tell us what it looks like when you do this.
So it's a basic casting. This isn't a hard spell, so I make a little motion with my hand, and there might be a little bit of a few words, to go with it, and then I say the message and hope that the casting doesn't go awry.
Okay. Go ahead and give us a use magic skill. Mixed success. You tell us what Frank hears. Frank, as you've calmed Frida down, things are starting to go back to a mellow tone within the morgue, and then a message. You hear something in your head. What does Frank hear, Jacob?
Groundskeeper's here. We can get a tour of the house if you guys get here soon.
It's an unusual sensation. I don't know if this has ever happened for Frank before, but you do hear Jacob's voice in your head.
Okay, and yeah, I'm not sure that I ever would have had that happen before, but I'm familiar enough that Jacob is a paranormal something, and I recognize his voice, and I know he's at the house, so I think that's enough for me to at least warrant going up there. Because it's probably either his voice actually telling me to go up there or something else, and maybe something happened to him up there.
Okay.
So, yeah, once I feel, was it Frida?
Yep.
Has been pacified enough that I can go back in the room. Because I'm not really sure where Lucas is in his procedure.
Okay. As soon we're going to cut to there, but you hear the voice, you recognize, okay, this is a weird thing that apparently Jacob can do. Back at Jacob, though, you realize your magic happened. It went through. You know that Frank heard you. But then you hear a voice in your head immediately after you say that. A voice that you recognize that you haven't heard in a while, but it's not a welcome voice. And you hear just the simple question,
"Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while. Where are you?"
and then it just fades away. And you're left, you just hear birds.
As soon as I hear that, I crouch down and start looking around to see where the voice came from.
And there is no one around. You just get the impression that your magic worked, but it might have broadcast to a larger audience than what you were expecting.
That's good.
Frank, you head back in to check on Lucas. You can see Lucas's eyes are fully white. There's nothing, there's pupils, irises are gone, just fully white. Raven is sitting on the body as he is standing there touching the body. But I'm going to say as the doors open that, Lucas, you come back out of that as Frank walks in. And Lenore flaps around behind you. And Frank, you lose sight of where she went.
Behind me or behind Lucas?
Behind Lucas.
Oh, okay. All right. So as Lucas comes out of it, I just kind of say, did everything go okay?
Looks like we're dealing with some kind of ghost or specter or something. Looks like that's what killed your friend.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly how we deal with that, but we'll need to figure that out.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I may have just gotten a cell phone call in my head from Jacob, wanting us to come back up there to tour the house. So that was kind of weird, but maybe we should head back up there if you're all set on this end.
Sounds good. We might be able to get some more information up there as well.
All right, cool.
Okay. Right here is where we're going to stop the episode. This is the end of first episode of Blackwood95, as our Monster of the Week investigators / hunters have determined what kind of monster they're dealing with. They've made a little bit of progress on the mystery with possibly a few drawbacks. You're going to be heading there, and when we pick up next time, it'll be at Hendriks' house. So thanks for joining us for first episode of Blackwood95. Hope everybody had fun, and we'll see you next time.
Ba, 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 ba.